what was just talked about, the storyteller, and tell stories, because if you want to talk about ideas that are of, let's say, the words that have been used today, neighborhood or community or dongne or whatever, how one constructs a fabric, let's try and make one today, although our space has had a slight transformation, but we can try and do it in different ways. So we're going to begin by, we're going to spend our time telling some stories and talking ideas through those stories, and let's see what comes out, what community, what dongne we can emerge from that. The first thing I'm going to read is exchange of text between two young people. The first one says, "I would often say, what should I write? There's nothing out of the ordinary in my life that I might write about." Now the other guy, Rakesh, was no writer himself. He said to me simply, write on a slip of paper one thing I had seen in the day before and give it to him. I thought hard for some time and then I wrote, "The wall was crumbling, posters were pasted all over it." This went on for a month. Every day I would write about one thing I had seen. After 30 days, Rakesh copied out everything on a chart and put it up on the wall. So many things came out. A crumbling wall, an old woman, her back was bent, an eagle swooping down from the sky, an empty street, a tree in full bloom, a creaking door. He was standing near the tap, his eyes were red, his hands fidgeted. A face appeared at the window. The binding of the book had come undone. There was a feast. The postman. She wears anklets. The girl looked very ill. The two friends met, hugged, and went their separate ways. I couldn't see the sky. There were so many kites. Everyone read the chart that came out of this. A huge world was contained in these. Can everyone see the screen? As it says, this is the municipal law diary of a neighborhood, of a large neighborhood in New Delhi from the year 1976. It lists the things that were done in that year or in that month by the municipal corporation. It whitewashed curbstones. It repaired grills. It whitewashed trees. It whitewashed houses. It launched prosecutions against members in the neighborhood, depending upon infractions of law. It killed some dogs. It killed rats. It demolished unauthorized constructions in neighborhoods. It planted trees. It trimmed some bougainvillea shrubs. And it removed some squatter settlements. It's a lot to have done in a month, I think. In the summer of 2001, we came across and recorded a broken down wall in what had been a central Delhi squatter settlement. The demolition, which was recent and incomplete, had exposed the inner walls of many makeshift houses, many makeshift dwellings. One such wall was inscribed over with a child's drawing, a large, happy lion. The symbolic apparatus of the modern Indian state borrows heavily from a repurposed ancient imperial past. The lion capital built by the Emperor Ashoka from the 2nd century BC, a symbol of the imperial power of the Mauryan dynasty, is today the seal of the Indian state. It features 4 roaring lions standing in close proximity on a pillar. The lion on the seal of the state roars at the lion on the wall of the makeshift dwelling. The two lions embody the two ways in which a city can speak, and yet both speak of the way in which the hands of power transform a landscape. The imperial Mauryan lion marks urban space with an official order, designating what is legal and what is illegal. This official order comes across a house, a dwelling, and it demolishes its outer walls, revealing its innermost core on which stands a child's happy line. The broken interior back wall of an illegal home becomes a public wall when the shell of the house is destroyed. An extant law forbids private inscriptions and acts of graffiti on public walls. So the happy blue line, hitherto the hero of a child's fantasy, expressed within the confines of a private home, becomes, after demolition, a private inscription on a public wall, an illegal graffiti. A wall is destroyed, a drawing becomes a fugitive. Private images scrawled on private niches yield to the onslaught of public laws. They are transformed into public spaces and then are subject to further scrutiny. In the civil war between what we call the master plan, a city's master plan, and the moment that we all actually have to live in, and we think that a civil war rages constantly between these two, the walls of the population must be more circumspect and more reticent, in keeping with the urgencies of our times.
There are some video logs from our own shooting. A man walks out of the STD booth at night. Tape number 16, time code 211809, 2001 November. Keywords: night, connection, signal, alone, walk. Short description: a man walks out of the long distance phone booth. His transmission done. He rewires the connection of the city at night. Mask of the night. Keywords: night, city, mask, walk, crowded. Time code 2415-001, 2001 October. Short description: a mask walks up to the eye of the camera and grins. The street takes no notice. The giant in the sky. Tape number 231007, February 2002. Keyword: city, alone, power, bleak, gaze. Short description: a giant statue of Hanuman god, a monkey god, under construction, encased in a scaffolding. What we are been interested in, and what we try to understand over the last 10-15 years of our practice has been the realm of the urban sensorium. How do you construct? What does an urban sensorium mean, and what are the ways in which different forms of erasure walks into the urban sensorium? The question of density and scale is something that we have been able to understand a bit, and that the sensorium is not something given. It is produced and it is enacted, and various forms in which you enact it. And an urban life, the multiplicity of scale by which you organize the urban life, and the urban life happens. Like in the last panel, there was definitely a different forms of scales that are in operation. That gives the heterogeneity and a multiplicity. And if you, the first encounter between the young boy and a young girl to write about urban life, you realize it is different forms of scale that is operated, the scale of the sky to the scale of a small window. And this operation between scale and density is something that would underwrite an understanding of the sensorium that would connect us to the way we would construct a neighborhood, or for that matter, even our daily meaning in an urban context.